Welcome back to Abound in Grace. If you've been with us during season 2, you might have noticed a theme. We talked about silence, we talked about waiting, we talked about being shaped, we talked about being realigned. To be honest, none of those seasons feels comfortable. Nobody asks for silence, nobody enjoys waiting, nobody volunteers for pruning, but those times have a purpose. God never wastes a season. Every delay, every challenge, every unanswered prayer, every moment where you wondered what God was doing, all of it was preparing you. Today, I want to encourage you with a simple truth. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You were being prepared. What God has been preparing you for might be closer than you realize. A common mistake is thinking preparation is separate from purpose. But preparation is part of your purpose. David spent years tending sheep before becoming king. Joseph spent years in prison before entering the palace. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading a nation. Jesus spent 30 years preparing for a ministry that lasted only 3 years. Just think about that for a moment. 30 years of preparation, 3 years of public impact. God often spends much more time preparing someone than putting them on display. Preparation protects your purpose. Without preparation, success becomes destruction. Without preparation, influence becomes pride. Without preparation, opportunity becomes pressure. God prepares you because He loves you. The season you wanted to leave might have been the one you needed most. Look back over the last year. You're not the same person. You may still have challenges. You may still have questions. But you've changed. Maybe you're stronger. Maybe you're wiser. Maybe you're more patient. Maybe your faith is deeper. Maybe you've learned to trust God even when you don't see results right away. Those changes are important. Romans 5:3-4 says, "Tribulation produces perseverance. Perseverance, character. And character, hope." God wasn't just working on your situation. God was working on you. Often, the greatest miracle isn't what God changes around us. It's what He changes within us. Because circumstances come and go, but character stays. Faith stays. Wisdom stays. Spiritual maturity stays. Those are treasures that no setback can take from you. Many people spend years waiting for perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect confidence, perfect certainty. But perfect conditions almost never come. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." In other words, if you wait for everything to feel perfect, you might never take a step. Faith does not require complete certainty. Faith requires obedience. Noah built before the rain. Abraham moved before the details. Peter stepped before stability. And every one of them discovered something. God often reveals the next step after you take the current one, not before. Sometimes, the breakthrough you've been praying for is just on the other side of obedience. This is not the time to shrink back. There are people watching this right now who know God has been calling them forward. Forward in ministry, forward in leadership, forward in purpose, forward in healing, forward in faith. But fear keeps whispering, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? But here's a better question to ask. What if God has been preparing you this entire time? What if every lesson, every struggle, every setback, every silent season was equipping you for this very moment? Fear makes you focus on what could go wrong. Faith helps you focus on who is with you. And God has promised, I will never leave you nor forsake you. You don't move forward because you have no fear. You move forward because God is faithful. Many people are praying for a new season while standing at the doorway of one. They don't see it because it doesn't look dramatic. Sometimes new seasons begin quietly. One decision, one prayer, one act of obedience, one step of faith. Don't overlook small beginnings. Every giant tree began as a seed. Every testimony began as a trial. Every breakthrough began as a decision not to quit. Maybe that's what someone needs to hear today. Don't quit. Don't retreat. Don't talk yourself out of what God is calling you to do. You have survived too much. You have grown too much. You have learned too much. You have come too far. Now is not the time to turn back. As we wrap up season 2 of Abound in Grace, I want to leave you with this thought. Everything God has taught you was never meant to end with you. The strength, the wisdom, the faith, the perseverance. Carry it with you into your next season. Walk boldly. Trust deeply. Move faithfully. And remember, the God who prepared you is also the God who will keep you going. In you. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this message encouraged you, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe to Abound in Grace, and I'll see you in Season 3. Season 3 begins with a new challenge. We've learned how God prepares us. Now we're going to learn how to walk in what He's entrusted to us. Season 3 starts with a message called Steward What God Gave You. Grace and peace be with you.